Hello, you're watching PTV World with the news at this hour. I'm Farooq Fayaz.
And I'm Tayyaba Nasar Khan. Let's first take a look at the headlines.
Nation is celebrating Pakistan Day today with simplicity in the face of the outbreak of the novel coronavirus and with the pledge to fight the pandemic.
President Dr. Arif Alvi and Prime Minister Imran Khan urged the countrymen to show utmost unity, discipline and passion to fight COVID-19 pandemic that has engulfed the world.
Army Chief chairs Special Corps Commanders Conference. The forum reviews countrywide spread of COVID-19 and deliberated Army's readiness to assist civil administration to contain the pandemic.
Number of confirmed coronavirus patients surges to 646 in Pakistan, while 3 people have died and 5 recovered from coronavirus in the country.
Coronavirus deaths soar across Europe and the US despite heightened restrictions as Germany bans gatherings of more than 2 people and Chancellor Angela Merkel went into quarantine.
China reports no new local cases of deadly coronavirus but confirmed another 39 infections brought in from overseas.
China appreciates Prime Minister Imran Khan and Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa's efforts to contain coronavirus pandemic in the country.
And International Olympic Committee is considering a postponement of Tokyo 2020 and has given itself a deadline of 4 weeks to make a decision.
The nation is celebrating Pakistan Day today with simplicity in the face of the outbreak of novel coronavirus and with the pledge to fight the pandemic. All kinds of public gatherings, especially the famous military parade, have been postponed as precautionary measure. Special prayers offered in mosques after Fajr prayers for the progress and prosperity of the country. The day dawned with a 31-gun salute in the federal capital and 21-gun salute in the provincial capitals. The day is being observed to commemorate the passage of Lahore Resolution on this day in 1940, under which the Muslims of the subcontinent set the agenda of a separate homeland for themselves.
President Dr. Arif Alvi and Prime Minister Imran Khan have urged the countrymen to show utmost unity, discipline and passion to fight the coronavirus pandemic that has engulfed the world. In their separate messages on Pakistan Day, the president said nations have to go through difficult times, but only with unity they sail through. He said we Pakistanis also need to stand united to fight this pandemic. The president said it is the responsibility of all segments of society, including ulama, media and political leaders, to play their due role in educating the masses about the preventive measures against the virus. He said doctors and health workers are the first line of defense in this crisis, and nation salutes them for their unrelenting and selfless endeavors. The Prime Minister in his message requested the people to take precautions without getting panicked. He said he is personally monitoring the government's measures against the COVID-19 pandemic. He said Pakistani nation has the capability to face any ordeal, and God willing, we will stand victorious in this test. The President and the Prime Minister also paid homage to the founding leaders of Pakistan and expressed unshakable support to the people of occupied Kashmir, who have been subjected to inhuman lockdown and communication blockade for over 7 months.
Iran has greeted Pakistan on the occasion of its National Day being celebrated today. According to a tweet, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iran, in its message, has extended warm congratulations to the government and people of Pakistan on its National Day. Iran also wished Pakistani nation everlasting peace and prosperity.
Now, Prime Minister Imran Khan has urged the people to go for self-isolation and follow discipline as state cannot afford a lockdown. Addressing the nation on television, the Prime Minister said complete lockdown means imposing curfew in the entire country. He said 25% Pakistanis are living under poverty line and the lockdown will badly affect the poor. The Prime Minister asked the people to have observed the self-quarantine and stay in their homes. He said 90% of coronavirus victims can recover while staying at home. He said we have reserved hospitals for serious patients. He also said we cannot afford public gatherings, self-discipline and wise thinking is the need of the hour. The Prime Minister said he is proud of his nation who stood firm in disasters. He said by the grace of Allah Almighty, we will overcome this crisis. He also urged the people that there is no need to hoard the ration. He urged the people not to panic buy, as panic is more threatening than coronavirus. The Prime Minister said media has to play an effective role in pacifying the situation.
Special Corps Commanders Conference chaired by Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa was held at GHQ Rawalpindi on a single-point agenda, COVID-19. Corps commanders participated through video link from their respective Corps headquarters. Spokesperson Pakistan Armed Forces Major General Babar Iftikhar tweeted, the forum reviewed countrywide spread of COVID-19 and deliberated Army's readiness to assist civil administration to contain the pandemic. All available troops of Pakistan Army and its medical resources across the country have been tasked to be ready to assist activities in concert with civil administration on short notice. The Army Chief said nothing can defeat a responsible and determined nation. He said, Inshallah, Pakistan Army, being part of national effort, would serve and protect the nation as a sacred duty.
The number of confirmed coronavirus patients surged to 646 in Pakistan. According to the statistics shared on special website relating to update on coronavirus, 152 cases in Punjab, 292 in Sindh, 104 in Balochistan and 31 in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are confirmed to have contracted coronavirus disease. There are 55 confirmed patients in Gilgit-Baltistan, 11 in Islamabad and 1 is Azad Jammu and Kashmir. So far, 3 people have died from the coronavirus attack and 5 persons have been recovered from the disease. According to Dr. Zafar Mirza, the number of suspected coronavirus cases is 5,694.
Special Assistant to Prime Minister on Health, Dr. Zafar Mirza, has said evidence about the use of chloroquine to treat COVID-19 patients is not present, but the government has sufficient stock of the chloroquine medicine. Addressing a media briefing accompanied by the Special Assistant to Prime Minister on Strategic Planning and Division, Dr. Mueed Yusuf, Dr. Zafar Mirza said no company is allowed to export chloroquine medicine from Pakistan. He said the Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan had issued advisory to manufacturers and consumers to maintain stock of chloroquine medicine. Dr. Zafar Mirza said the standard treatment guidelines over use of chloroquine will be issued soon. He said for the treatment of COVID-19 patients, the crash course is being offered initially for 5,000 doctors in the first month. Rebuffing reports of death of the doctor in Gilgit-Baltistan, Dr. Zafar Mirza said the doctor is alive but in critical condition. Earlier, chairing a high-level meeting of all heads of departments at PIMS Hospital in Islamabad, the Special Assistant to Prime Minister said the staff at hospitals are ready to cope with any untoward situation in the country. During the meeting, preparations to cope with the challenges arising from coronavirus endemic in the country were reviewed. Dr. Zafar Mirza said safety of health workers is top priority of the government, adding all-out measures have been taken in this connection. He also sought lists of the necessary equipments and face masks available at hospital. He said further beds are added to the hospital and all essential equipment is being provided in sufficient quantity to the hospital.
The coronavirus deaths have soared across Europe and the United States despite heightened restrictions as Germany banned gathering of more than 2 people and Chancellor Angela Merkel went into quarantine. In the United States, President Donald Trump ordered emergency medical stations for hotspots, hospitals scrambled to find ventilators, and a $1 trillion proposal to rescue America's reeling economy crashed to defeat. Germany and Greece became the latest countries to tighten curtailments on movement as the virus kept nearly 1 billion people indoors and intensified fears of a global recession unlike any experienced for decades. The death toll from the virus, which has upended lives and closed businesses and schools across the planet, surged to move more than 14,300. The epicenter is firmly in Europe after shifting from China, where the illness first emerged late last year. Italy's world-topping toll from the pandemic approached 5,500 as the Mediterranean country reported another 651 deaths a day after it overtook China for the highest number of fatalities. Greece imposed a national lockdown and in Germany, Merkel began quarantining at home after being treated by a doctor who said and has been tested positive for the virus. But lockdown measures in Italy have done little to stem the outbreak, and New Yorkers find difficult on a spring weekend to put a stop to fun in the city that never sleeps.
Germany has expanded curbs on social interactions to try to contain the coronavirus outbreak, banning public gatherings of more than 2 people. In a televised address, Chancellor Angela Merkel said, "Our own behavior was the most effective way of slowing the rate of infection." The measures included closing hair, beauty and massage studios. Other non-essential shops had already been shut. Shortly afterwards, Mrs. Merkel's office said she would quarantine herself. Her spokesman said a doctor who vaccinated her on Friday against pneumococcus, a pneumonia-causing bacteria, had tested positive for coronavirus. The Chancellor will be tested regularly in the next few days and work from home. Germany has so far confirmed 18,610 cases and 94 deaths from the COVID-19, the disease caused by the virus.
Meanwhile, Australia is shutting down non-essential services as coronavirus cases rise rapidly in the country. Pubs, clubs, gyms, cinemas, and places of worship will be shut from midday, while restaurants and cafes will have to switch to takeaway only. Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced the restrictions after a national cabinet meeting. The number of cases in Australia has risen sharply in recent days, reaching 1,315. New South Wales, home to Sydney, is the worst affected state with 533 confirmed cases. Victoria, of which Melbourne is the capital, has 296 cases, while Queensland has 259. 7 people have died across Australia so far from COVID-19.
China reported no new local cases of the deadly coronavirus, but confirmed another 39 infections brought in from overseas. The National Health Commission said 9 more people died, all in the epicenter city of Wuhan, where the virus first emerged late last year. 2 months after China took the dramatic steps to lock down some 56 million people in Wuhan and the surrounding province of Hubei, infections have slowed dramatically, and for 5 consecutive days there have been no new cases in the province. Travel and work restrictions in the province have been gradually eased, and Chinese president visited Wuhan earlier this month, his first since the crisis erupted. As the rate of infection slows in China, the rest of the world has stepped up measures to try and battle the raging pandemic. China is anxious about an influx of infections brought in from other countries, with the number of imported cases climbing steadily over the recent weeks to pass 350. There have now been over 81,000 cases in China, and the death toll has reached 3,270.
Iran has announced 129 new deaths caused by the novel coronavirus, raising to 1,685 the official death toll in one of the worst-hit countries, along with Italy and China. Health Ministry spokesperson Kianush Jahanpur said more than 1,028 new cases had been recorded in the past 24 hours, and a total of 21,638 people had now been tested positive for the virus.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom has ordered 40 million residents to stay at home. That's a big problem for the state's estimated 108,000 homeless who live on the streets. Officials are bracing for the coronavirus to have an outsized impact on the homeless, who often live without access to proper sanitation and sometimes suffer underlying illnesses. Newsom said more than 60,000 homeless people could become ill with the coronavirus in California over the next 2 months, badly straining healthcare system. He has ordered $50 million be used to convert motels and hotels into shelters where homeless people could be isolated if they caught the virus.
Now, China has appreciated Prime Minister Imran Khan and Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa for efforts to contain the coronavirus pandemic in the country. Spokesperson for Foreign Ministry Li Jianzhao in a tweet today said Pakistan demonstrated as a responsible and determined nation fighting COVID-19. He said the Prime Minister and Army Chief both asked Pakistanis to follow the Chinese experience.
Prime Minister Imran Khan has appealed to U.S. President Donald Trump to lift sanctions against Iran on humanitarian grounds till the COVID-19 pandemic is over. In a tweet, he said the people of Iran are facing untold sufferings as sanctions are crippling their country's efforts to fight COVID-19. Imran Khan said humanity must unite to fight this pandemic.
In more national news, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi telephoned his Iranian and Nepalese counterparts and exchanged views on situation arising out of the outbreak of COVID-19. Talking to Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, he expressed deep sorrow and grief over the loss of precious lives in Iran due to COVID-19. He apprised the Iranian leader about Prime Minister Imran Khan's efforts urging the world community to lift sanctions on Iran to deal with the pandemic. In his conversation with Nepalese Foreign Minister Pradeep Gawali, Shah Mahmood Qureshi emphasized on activating SAARC platform to deal with the coronavirus.
Speaker National Assembly Asad Qasir and opposition leader in the National Assembly Shehbaz Sharif agreed for close coordination to fight coronavirus. Asad Qasir held a telephonic contact with Shehbaz Sharif. Both discussed issues pertaining to coronavirus. Establishment of a parliamentary committee on coronavirus also came under discussion. Asad Qasir said unity of political leadership is need of the hour. Shehbaz Sharif lauded Speaker's efforts for political unity for a noble cause.
Now, the Special Assistant to Prime Minister on Information and Broadcasting, Dr. Firdaus Ashikawan, has said that Section 144 is imposed in Islamabad on the instruction of Prime Minister Imran Khan to protect against COVID-19. According to the notification shared by Dr. Firdaus Ashikawan from her Twitter account, it says restaurants, food centers, coffee shops, and cafes shall remain closed. However, home delivery and takeaway will remain functional. All shops shall remain closed after 8 p.m. However, this restriction will not apply to pharmacies, dispensaries, clinics, grocery stores, bakeries, flour mills, and petrol pumps. The notification states that all major shopping malls shall remain closed.
Chief Minister Punjab Sardar Usman Buzdar visited a newly set up field hospital at Expo Centre, Lahore. The Chief Minister was joined by senior city officials and politicians. Joined by Punjab Health Minister Dr. Yasmin Rashid and Information Minister Fayaz Chauhan, the Chief Minister was given a tour and briefing of the hospital. The field hospital, once completed, will have 1,000-bed capacity, have all required medical equipment, doctors and experts to deal with a high influx of those suffering from COVID-19. The hospital can also be used as a quarantine centre. Being built at a cost of 900 million rupees, the 1,000-bed field hospital will have in-house laundry, medical inventory room, attendant and patients' washrooms, food storage room, hospital waste management, CCTV cameras, control room, health staff rooms, and a public address system, among other things. Chief Minister Usman Buzdar also briefed those gathered about the comprehensive measures being taken to fight and curtail the spread of COVID-19 in Punjab.
Now, advisor to Chief Minister Khyber Pakhtunkhwa on information, Ajmal Khan Wazir, announces that shopping malls and restaurants will remain closed from 22nd to 24th of March in the province. In his media briefing, Ajmal Khan Wazir said public transports have been suspended in the province for a week. He said 3 persons have died of coronavirus, while 31 others were tested positive in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. He said there are 170 suspected cases of coronavirus. Ajmal Khan detailed that 1,299 new doctors have been hired. He said every step will be taken to facilitate people. Ajmal Khan urged that public coordination is mandatory to fight the coronavirus.
Ambassador Matsuda Kuninori has said Japan is fully determined to support Pakistan in fighting COVID-19. He said this in his message on the occasion of Pakistan Day. He said the long-standing friendship between the two countries is unwavering even through this difficult time when the entire world is grappling with the coronavirus pandemic. Matsuda Kuninori also wished the people of Pakistan a prosperous and bright future.
In occupied Kashmir, Hurriyat organizations have said that India is victimizing the illegally detained Hurriyat leaders to stop resistance to its illegal hold over Jammu and Kashmir. Hurriyat organizations said Modi's communal government in New Delhi has devised a plan to send Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front chairperson Yasin Malik to gallows in a 30-year-old false case. They appealed to the world human rights bodies to take cognizance of the plight of the Kashmiri detainees. Meanwhile, Hurriyat leader Ghulam Muhammad Khan Sopori said that due to the lockdown in different countries in wake of coronavirus pandemic, the world community must have no difficulty in realizing the sufferings of the people of occupied Kashmir. The Kashmiris have gone through and been through the ordeals for the past over 7 months.
At least 23 people have died in one of Bogota's largest jails after prisoners attempted to escape amid rising tensions over coronavirus. Colombia's Justice Minister Margarita Cabello said 83 inmates were injured during the riot at La Modelo prison. The escape attempt comes as inmates at prisons across the country held protests against overcrowding and poor health services during the coronavirus outbreak. Cabello said 32 prisoners and 7 guards were in hospital. 2 guards are in a critical condition. She said the violence was a coordinated plan with disturbances reported across 13 of the country's prisons.
Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, 2 prisoners died and 3 others were injured when fighting broke out in a Sri Lankan jail over rumors of coronavirus as governments across South Asia tighten restrictions of movement to try to stem infections. A police spokesperson said in Sri Lanka, which has confirmed 76 cases, police arrested 110 people from various parts of the country for violating a weekend curfew. He said contrary to rumors floating around, no one has tested positive at the Anuradhapura prison. In prisons seen of frequent protests against ill treatment in recent years, inmates fought staff fearing that the virus had entered the jail.
A teenager was killed and other injured when a strong earthquake shook Croatia's capital Zagreb, causing widespread damage and panic. The European Seismological Agency said the earthquake measured 5.3 and struck a wide area north of the capital. The epicenter was 4 miles north of Zagreb at a depth of 6 miles. Many buildings in the city cracked and walls and rooftops were damaged. The streets were littered with debris, with concrete slabs falling on cars and chimneys landing in front of entrances. The earthquake struck amid a partial lockdown of the capital because of the spread of the coronavirus.
In sports news, the International Olympic Committee is considering a postponement of Tokyo 2020 and has given itself a deadline of 4 weeks to make a decision. The International Olympic Committee's executive board met yesterday amid mounting pressure from athletes and national Olympic committees for the Games to be delayed because of the coronavirus crisis. In light of the worldwide deteriorating situation, the executive board has initiated the next step in the International Olympic Committee's scenario planning. These scenarios relate to modifying existing operation plans for the Games to go ahead on July 24, 2020, and also for changes to the start date of the Games. The committee said cancellation is not on the agenda, but a scaled-down game will also be considered. However, postponement by either several months or probably a whole year is thought to be the most likely outcome.
Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has said postponing the Tokyo Olympic Games may become an option if holding the event in its complete form became impossible. The International Olympic Committee said after an emergency meeting it is stepping up its scenario planning for the 2020 Tokyo Games, including a possible postponement as the coronavirus pandemic spreads. Abe told Parliament that the IOC decision was in line with the view that the Tokyo Games should be held in its complete form. If that becomes difficult, we may have no option but to consider postponing the Games, given the Olympics' principle of putting the health of athletes first. Abe also said cancelling the Games was not an option.
Meanwhile, the Canadian Olympic Committee and Paralympic Committee said that Team Canada will not participate in the Olympic and Paralympic Games in the summer of 2020 due to the concerns about the outbreak of coronavirus. Opposition to holding the Games in July has risen sharply in the past 48 hours, with several major stakeholders such as US track and field and UK athletics, along with several national Olympic committees, calling for a delay because of the pandemic. Canada's withdrawal will add to growing pressure on the IOC to alter the schedule after criticism from a slew of current and former athletes with health concerns.
Hong Kong stocks nosedived at the open today, with investors spooked by the rising worldwide coronavirus death toll and the failed $1 trillion emergency economic proposal in the U.S. Senate. The Hang Seng dropped 5.02% to 21,659.55 at the open.